What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and today I'm actually going to be making a video on what you can actually do once you hit level 120 in BFA. Now, a lot of people are wondering, once they actually hit the max level cap, what are they going to do, what they're going to actually have available to them, what sort of task can they actually complete, because a lot of you guys know that there's not any raids available right now, or at least there's no LFR available. So once you hit max level, it would really seem that there's not actually a lot to do, but that's completely the opposite to the reality of things. And because of this, I actually wanted to make a list of different things you can actually do once you hit max level cap, especially because recently I realized there's actually quite a lot of love and good feedback on my WoW videos, and they're getting a lot more views than most of my other stuff, because obviously people are a lot more interested in WoW than most other things right now, because this is a brand new expansion. So I do want to bring you guys some tips, definitely, because on my main I have actually hit 120, and a lot of people have been asking me what to actually do when they hit max cap. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into the list. So the first one, what you can do is actually try and get your item level as high as possible, and this means just basically gearing up through other means. So there's a lot of things on this list which will allow you to gear up, a lot of tips which involve getting better gear, and this is because eventually Uldir, which is one of the raids, is actually dropping soon, and this is going to require you to have 350 item levels. So to actually enter this and actually partake in Uldir, you're going to have a high item level, so you're going to have to be farming those pieces right now. You can do this in multiple different ways. There's a lot of different options available to actually gear, which I'm going to be mentioning in this list. But this raid drops on September the 4th, so you've got plenty of time to actually level up your item level now and get ready for that raid. There's not actually that much time in terms of months, but you still do have nearly like 2 weeks to actually level up and get all the item level, so definitely be sure to get on that if you want to get prepared. Now, a lot of people don't actually want to tackle raids, some people don't even play raids at all, and some people just like the LFR experience. But if you're a hardcore raider, or if you're into raiding, or if you just want to explore new content, definitely do get prepared for that. So the next one is actually unlock all the AZERITE armor traits. So as you know, basically there's a new thing called AZERITE armor traits, and there's a new thing called Heart of Azeroth. Now, armor traits are only unlockable upon achieving a certain level with your Heart of Azeroth artifact, and upon actually getting a high level with this artifact, you'll actually unlock more traits, and most of these traits are actually only going to go in your head pieces, your chest pieces, and your shoulder pieces, and you're going to have 3 different traits with these. So you can actually unlock these traits to boost certain aspects of your character, so your character attributes and stats. It actually boosts the effectiveness of all of your spells. So basically, some of these traits will maybe give you a shield, or make a certain spell do more damage, or proc a different passive, which is really useful when you're in a fight to actually tackle really tough enemies. So it's really important to complete as many quests and do as many dungeons as you can right now to farm that AZERITE power, because that AZERITE power is going to allow you to actually unlock all these different traits on your gear. And obviously when you replace your gear and get different gear, you're going to have to get these traits again, but these traits will actually in turn obviously boost FPS, because you're fighting tougher enemies and you're using these traits to your advantage to boost the effectiveness of your spells, like we mentioned before. So the next thing is to actually get exalted with as many different factions as you can. This is actually a great thing to do, because faction rep actually unlocks so many different things. It gives you so many different unlockables and things you can actually acquire from these factions. So you can actually gain rep with factions in Zuldazar and Kultiris factions, and when you actually do this, you're going to unlock different high tier gear pieces that these vendors from the certain factions can fence to you, and you're also going to unlock certain other great pieces which you might actually want to get, like different mounts and things like that, just crazy things which are really useful. Now in the long term of things, these pieces aren't going to be as great as raid pieces when they do come out, but for now, the reputation pieces are probably some of the best that you can actually get, and some of the best in slots. So farming those reputations is definitely worthwhile now, especially if you're preparing for the Uldir raid like we mentioned before. That's always a great thing to do. You'll also be gaining rep with the champions of Azeroth whilst doing this, and because of this, you'll actually unlock Heart of Azeroth levels as you progress, and this is obviously the legendary neck piece, or the artifact neck piece, which we've actually acquired in this expansion. So this is really useful, guys. Definitely do farm reps, and farming reps, there's so many different reasons why you should be doing this. Obviously this is a daily thing, so it can come a little bit tedious, but in the long term of things, if you really want to get ahead, farming the rep is definitely going to be great for you. So the next thing is just a really quick step, and that is actually complete all the follower missions. Now the follower missions are basically just going to grant you AZERITE power. They're not really going to do too much in the long term of things, but like we said before, it's really beneficial to farm that Azerite power because it's so important now to level up the traits and make your gear better basically. So farming these follow missions is just going to be another step in doing that. Now the next thing is heroic dungeons, which you're only going to be allowed to do once you hit 120, but luckily for you this guide is obviously designed at being 120, and heroic dungeons will obviously boost your eye level because you're going to be unlocking crazy good gear from this. Obviously in comparison to normal difficulty dungeons, the gear is going to be really good, and like we mentioned earlier, the bonus from completing the actual dungeon itself and also slaying each boss is going to be obviously certain rewards and Azerite power, which is the main thing to actually level up your gear. So this is another way to gain Azerite power. Most of the things in this list you're going to be gaining a lot of Azerite power, and heroic dungeons is no exception to that because killing the bosses and completing them is going to grant you a lot of it. Probably one of the most important aspects on this list is actually completing all of the available world quests. Now the reason for this is the world quests are going to grant you really good rewards, and what I mean by this is world quests, just like they did in Legion, are actually going to grant you really good gear as well. So you're going to be able to replace your low tier gear, especially it's definitely going to complement the gear that you're unlocking by other means such as heroics and reputation. Sometimes the world quest gear is actually going to be better than the gear you get from heroics or the reputation gear, so it's really important to complete these world quests. Obviously they'll give you Azerite power as well, like everything else on this list, and the rewards are great, and this is going to boost your eye level like we mentioned before, which is so important if you want to be ready for that new content when it drops. And they also grant reputation upon completion, so obviously you want this reputation. It's super important when farming these factions because like we mentioned before, each faction is going to give you desirable items and they'll basically gain reputation for each of your different factions each day. Island expeditions is another thing which you can be doing, which actually reset weekly. Now it's really paramount you complete these each week so you obviously don't miss out each week on the rewards, because when they reset you're not going to be able to do them again, but they do grant you good rewards. Obviously they grant Azerite power like most of the things on this list. I'm not sure what they do actually grant in terms of other stuff, but definitely it's worthwhile doing just for that Azerite power. But it's really important you do these because like I said, each week they will reset, so obviously you can just do them even when they reset, but the problem is when they reset you're going to miss out a whole week of opportunities in doing these expeditions. So definitely make sure you're going to be farming these so you don't miss out on each week and farm those weekly rewards. The next thing is actually mythic dungeons. Now I probably should have paired this together with the heroic dungeons because it's obviously under the same category, but mythic dungeons are super important, and I know some people have been doing these recently and they've been telling me about the great gear they've actually been obtaining from them. Now I'm pretty sure some of the gear you get from these is up to like 350 or something like that, and it's really good quality gear you're going to be getting from them. You can join these groups via the group finder. Obviously if you go into the group finder section on pre-made groups and then dungeons, you can find these groups and people to do them, or you can find people recruiting in the capitals to actually join groups for these mythics. There's 10 different dungeons in BFA, and completing all of them on mythic weekly will grant amazing tier pieces for you, and it'll also boost faction reputations and grant you that Azerite power which we've been looking for. So really important stuff guys if you definitely do want to get ahead of the curve, and mythic dungeons are definitely something you want to do. If you remember back in Draenor, mythic dungeons granted you those chests which granted you gear pieces and really cool things weekly. I'm not sure if there's actually weekly quests like that, but they're definitely really beneficial. The next one is actually finding and killing different rare elites. Now you can actually find these NPCs by using different add-ons, and utilizing these add-ons is probably the quickest and most optimal way you can actually do it, because these add-ons will mark all of the NPCs on the map for you, and it's a good way to actually track them and find them all. Now I do have add-ons to do this. I have add-ons where they actually star them or mark a skull on the map. Certain different add-ons can conflict with this. Obviously different add-ons do the same thing, but killing these rare elites do actually go towards certain achievements. There's actually a lot of achievements which killing these rare elites will actually go towards the completion of. And different add-ons can do this. Like I mentioned, you can get NPC scan, you can get Silver Dragon, and there's a lot of different BFA ones or plugins for handy notes which will actually mark them on the map as well. So not only will these go towards the mob killing achievements, but they'll also go towards actually getting Azerite power as well. The next one is obviously the war campaign. Now most people will know about this because this is the most crucial thing probably on this list and the most obvious thing on this list. And war campaigns, if you haven't already started them, or started it if you like, is basically a thing that will grant you more Azerite power upon completion and will also allow you to unlock the new missions for your followers. Also doing this will allow you to complete the new allied race requirements requirements to actually unlock the new allied races depending on your different faction, and along with doing this though, you're going to have to actually complete certain different requirements. So for an example, you're going to have to finish Exalted Reputation with one of two factions. Now this depends on the faction you are, so for an example if you're Alliance or Horde, and these two different factions are the 7th Legion or the Honor Bound. So you need to get exalted with one of these factions depending if you're on the Horde or Alliance, and you need to complete the war campaign, and this will allow you to actually gain access to some of the new allied races, including the Mag'har Orcs and the Zandalari. So the next one, obviously, hence the last point, is actually unlocking the allied races, but this doesn't always have to include the new allied races. There's also the older allied races that were released in the pre-patch. So for an example, these are all the ones from Legion. So to unlock the ones from Legion, obviously you'll have to go back to the Broken Isles, but you can do the different reputations in the various zones in Broken Isles. I actually made a video on how to actually unlock all the allied races, so you can go back and watch that. That does have quite a lot of views on already, so a lot of people have found it useful so far. But if you want to know how to unlock all these different allied races, I did already make a video on that for you to check out. But definitely going back to these zones and unlocking the allied races is really useful and interesting to do, because if you want to level another ult, you're going to have the new races available, and it's going to give you something new to bring to the table, because a lot of the older races most people have already played and kind of exhausted. The last point I'm going to give you is once you hit 120, you can also go back and level different ults. Currently in this video you're going to be seeing some footage of me leveling a Paladin, and this Paladin is actually a different ult that I'm playing. It's not actually my main, but I do want to make it into my main, and the reason I'm playing my Paladin is I didn't want to get into the heart of the expansion where most of the new content was dropping and then regret the character I was leveling and try and switch mains halfway through. So I did want to level this at the start, so I made sure I started leveling that ult early on so I don't miss on any of the later content while I'm leveling. So definitely do level new ults, especially if you're in a guild and you need to fill a different role, or maybe you even want a different character on the other faction. This is because the other faction has a different storyline, they have different zones, and it's really cool to actually try out the Horde and Alliance storylines because they're really different. So if these tips helped you on what to do at level 120, then definitely do like the video, subscribe for more WoW videos on BFA, Battle for Azeroth, because I do have a lot more videos coming out. These videos are doing really well so far, and I thought because of this I should probably drop more WoW videos on the channel because they seem to really be helping people. So if you want to get more tips on the new expansion when every single patch drops or new features drop, then definitely do subscribe to the channel. I'll have the normal videos up on the channel as well, so GTA 5 funny moments, some Life is Strange, and different various gaming and fact videos as well for the current subscribers. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.
You better back up, try and play the role and get a whole crew will act up. Get up, stand up, come on, throw your hands up. If you got the feeling, then jump across the ceiling. Mugs is a